So Sarah, shall I kick off? And we all know who you are, and it's been amazing. And I wanted to continue the conversation, if we may.
Yeah, you do that, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Award-winning podcaster, too.
That was some time ago. I'm Isabel Berwick. I work for the FT. I lead our Working It brand. I write a newsletter. I make videos. That's how I met Sarah. If you haven't seen our video about generative AI in the workplace, please do. The video series has had 1 million views, so it's clearly a topic that people are interested in. And we're going to have a little chat about some of the themes that were raised in the earlier presentation, and perhaps more widely about the future of work, what's happening, what isn't happening. And we're going to have a little bit of time for questions. So please have a think, and we'll have some roving mics. And this is your opportunity to quiz Sarah.
Easy, easy.
So, Sarah, I wanted to just come back to what you just mentioned, the FUD, which I think is a kind of downbeat but great acronym. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. It's such good shorthand for how workers are feeling at the moment. Obviously, we're all in this extraordinary moment. Lattice can help people manage those feelings, but what's your advice more generally to managers and to workers? Because it's a difficult time, isn't it?
It is a difficult time, and it's something which has permeated not just professional lives, but personal lives. It is across every age, every geography, every way you would slice and dice. It's happening. And the FUD is something which, when something comes and takes you by surprise, it's easy to be paralyzed. Yeah. It's easy to be paralyzed by the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt. And then it gets exacerbated, where you hear, daunting predictions. And my take is that we need to face this moment with courage and strength, and have the courage to go down a pathway that is uncertain, but it is an incredible opportunity. And I say this because everyone is at the starting line together. This is not something where you can put out an advertisement and say, I would like to hire somebody with 15 years of agentic AI experience. Nobody has that. It's new for all of us. And it's new for every company, and it's new for every person. And so I look at it as a call for urgency, where we must skill ourselves, we must teach ourselves, we must learn together, we must have that courage to try. And by doing that, you can get an advantage, in the workforce or as a competitive edge as a company. And so when I think of courageous leadership, I think of people leaders, and that's where I think that this is an incredible moment. But it is one which we have to do responsibly.
Yes, and Lattice is obviously ahead of the game on a lot of this. The agentic AI is something that I hear about all the time. So when I came to see you in San Francisco at the end of last year, everyone was talking about Gen AI, ChatGPT. Now it's agentic all the way. But I also feel there's a little bit of overwhelm, and a lot of people are not engaging. What would you say in simple terms? What is it that the agents are going to do for us? That sorry, that the agents...
I don't want to answer what the agents are going to do to us.
No. How can we get people excited about agents? Is I guess my question.
Yeah, I think people are excited, but you're kind of like, am I automating myself out of a job right now? Like, I'm kind of uncertain what's going on here. And so that's where people get this hesitation. And then they're also like, well, should I tell you all of my data? Because are you going to use this to help me? Or is this going to hurt me? And so this is why I just think it's so urgent that we have the right policy, the right mindset. And you ask, how to get excited. When you think about, and again, I'll be repetitive, but removing the monotony from your day. And I think about how simple to see like a Zoom conversation happening where, you said it, how the manager's present. I mean, how many of you have conversations with your team and you're not distracted thinking about, okay, this is what I have to do next. Oh, let me remember to write that down. Oh, let me remember to, pick up this, something from the grocery store. Like you're so distracted that you're not actually present. And you're not also prepared. You often show up to conversations that are important without the proper preparation. Not because you're doing anything wrong, just because you're busy. And technology has, for decades, been promising us to alleviate the drudgery and the hardship, and it was supposed to be so much easier. And whether it's now, I don't know I don't know about all of you, but I know that my phone, my laptop, I've got so much notifications, Slack messages, emails, text, prompts, everything. It's overwhelming. And so I get, and we have disorders around this now. It's like we are anxious, we are stressed because your thing's just like bing, 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 bing. You should talk to me, you should do something. And it's not, it's chaotic. And so the way that I think we can get excited is to realize that we can simplify, and we can turn the chaos into a more understandable way of working and prioritization. And so that's, to me, I find that maybe that's just my personality type. I love me some to-do lists and like check, getting them done. And having that prioritized, having that understanding, I think is very exciting.
No, I think that's a great way of putting it. You always make things very simple. And I talk to other people, I come away more confused. But I love talking to you because you make it simpler for me. It's brilliant. So you mentioned in the presentation there that trust is a huge issue. Falling trust, it's much wider than workplaces. It's right across society. But I'm interested in the fact that many surveys, like the Edelman Trust Barometer, for example, shows that people have more trust in their workplace and their employer than they do perhaps in government or institutions, and certainly the media, unfortunately. So what do you think what's the obligation for employers now, or what's the opportunity in this extraordinary moment?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's interesting. The Edelman Trust Barometer, we were in Davos when he did the new one this year, and it's very interesting how it's changing. And it is also eroding more, I think, on both sides, whether it's with your employer, because we've had some missteps with trust in the last few years with companies doing layoffs, having redundancies, and changing strategies. And so I think people are saying, like, I don't know where there's stable ground, and trust is so important. And when you think about AI as this new thing which is coming in, that's a question: can I trust it? Can I trust this AI? And that it takes time. And I think back an analogy which I love to remember is with ATMs. And I think it's kind of funny, actually, when you think about how much trust you had about your money and a bank. I mean, that's a relationship. Like, I'm going to take my money that I worked hard for, I'm going to give it to you, the bank. I trust you to store my money, keep it safe, and it'll be there when I need it. That's a big trust. I'm not going to put it in my, drawer under the mattress. I'm going to put it in the bank. And I used to go to the bank, to the teller, to the person, give them the money. And then we expected you to trust a metal box sitting outside the bank that you were going to give it your money. And you're like, well, I don't know. I can give it to Isabel here, and I trust her. She'll remember me. But you expect me to go to this metal box outside and, like, put my money into it, and then it's going to just magically show up in my bank account? And now we think that's just commonplace. And people built trust that technology and that system and that machine would work. And so AI is even more evolved than that, in the way that it is not just a machine that has a program and a decision tree that we know with 100% accuracy what it will do. The AI is a reasoning entity that will look at information have context that it will ask a question and give back what it thinks the best response is. And so just like with anything, whether it's an ATM machine, another person that you meet, anything, we have to build trust. And that just takes time. And it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that's the thing that we need to understand as we bring AI into our workforce or into our workplace, is that we need to educate, we need to understand, and we need to build trust over time by demonstrating success and also being committed to an outcome which is around the success of people. And that will emotionally resonate with people. When you just show an AI that does somebody's job for them, you're like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. But when you show an AI that's helpful and people can then take that step and say, oh, now I see. Now I see that I can focus on these other things, and I didn't have people doing this stuff. It's a process. And that's another reason why I think that people leaders are so important, because you will respect the process that we have to go through with AI.
So one of the things I'm hearing about all the time, and we touched on it here, is AI coaching. And I can see there's a sort of exponential growth actually in this happening, and you've got it built in. I think this is one of the great promises of AI in the workplace, the democratization of coaching. How are people using it at the moment? How is it? Do they find it easier to talk to an AI coach than a real person? Is there a judgment and shame piece that's being pushed away? How does it help us?
Short answer, yes. It's quite incredible when you think, and there is, like you said, so much happening. There's some pilot schools that I'm aware of in the United States that are bringing AI tutors into the classroom and the children spend some time with the AI tutor. My own 10-year-old, she uses an AI tutor. And what's incredible, even open classrooms, like Stephanie mentioned how much AI they're using as well. It's how personalized and how connected you can feel to somebody that is talking to you in a way that relates to you with analogies that you understand at your exact level, at your exact pace, in your language, at the tone you like. I mean, you think about, if you're trying to exercise, some people like the drill sergeant mentality, like drop and give me 20 right now, and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna. And they're really inspired by that drill sergeant type of exercise coaching. And some people want the more zen, like let's meditate, let's do our yoga, breathe. And it's different strokes for different folks. In having AI coaching, it just enables us to respect that people learn differently, but scale that in a way that we can afford. And that is so powerful when you can do that with our children, in work. And also the question that you asked so poignantly is, are you less fearful of judgment with the AI? This is what I think is so interesting, is that as people, we're actually not very good truth tellers, like that little Wonder Woman lasso, we are worried, we're scared, I'm going to hurt your feelings. I don't know how to tell you some difficult constructive feedback. I might not know everything and might mess up the vocabulary in delivering it. You might misinterpret my body language, and maybe we're having it over Zoom and not in person. And so there's a lot that's when a person is coaching each other. There's also the fear, like, oh, if I tell you this, are you going to think I'm lame? Are you going to think I'm weird? Are you going to tell your friend and then they're going to talk about me? It's both ways. And with the AI, it will tell you what it sees, and then you can ask it also questions which you're not afraid of judgment on the receiving end as well. And so in a weird way, by having the AI there as your coach, you can have a very truthful, honest conversation both ways, and then you can show up much more prepared, much more human to the person that you're trying to talk to or in the situation. And I think it's quite fascinating, and it's makes me excited that the AI can help us be better humans when we interact.
Yeah, and it's going to have a profound effect on corporate culture quite quickly, I would imagine. That's really exciting.
I hope so. I mean, there's nowhere to go but up. We can.
So to broaden it out a little bit, I'm really interested in leadership, the state of leadership at the moment. I wanted to ask you about that because the word I would use for it is confused. I don't know if you would agree. Everything you read out there, it's about leaders have to be empathetic, they have to listen, and yet out there in the world, politics is telling us something different. The authoritarians are winning, except in Canada. What's happening? How should leaders be, I guess, is that what I'm asking you?
Yeah. How long do we have? An hour? No. I mean, this is, different strokes for different folks. But my personal opinion is that leaders really need to show up authentically and with empathy and compassion, but with also a vision and courage. I think courage is something that can help us get through the confusion, because people are just like wondering what to do, and they're looking to their leader, and then they're like, trying to play both sides and not really giving a strong vision. But a leader that shows up authentically and recognizes, this is good, that is bad, this is where we're going, I'm uncertain about these 5 things, you're just so much more relatable as a human. And in the corporate world, my opinion is that as a leader, you need to show up and you need to be yourself, you need to be authentic, you need to listen, and just be very honest with your teams. We're going, whether you're a company that's going through incredible growth or whether you're going through a transformation time, it's about being there together. I mean, at the end of the day, people want to work with great people and do great work, meaningful work. And so your business may be at various stages, but if you show up and you rally people behind that and you're authentic with them, I think that's very important. Now, it is a bit of a refuge some ways, because at work, if you can come to work, and I do think it's important to come to work and leave the politics and everything aside. We're here as colleagues. We're here as teammates, not trying to pretend that we're a bloodline family, but we are here to say we are here to support each other. We're here on a mission. We're here to rally. We're here to deliver. We have goals. We're aligned. We have a purpose. And we're not going to let things divide us, because the world is so divided right now. But when you can come to work and just have a purpose together, I think that's, your question was about leadership, but I think that's what a leadership should be driving. Like whether you're on a mission like Open Classrooms is to make education accessible. I mean, I think Stephanie has an incredible job and done an incredible job at uniting her company around that mission. And so it doesn't matter the language you speak or the belief that you have, or you're at work and you're like, I can put all that aside and just do my work together with my team. And I think that's what a leader should do in the workplace.
I'm going to go to questions in a bit, but Sarah, I wanted to come back to the people bit here. There are probably people in the audience here who are in organisations where the leaders are rushing into AI. As someone said to me the other week, too many CEOs are not asking why. They're saying how, but they're not saying why. What's your advice on rolling out AI in a way that answers why?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in this room has probably been hit over the head with the more AI now, more efficiency now stick, and you're like, okay, we'll go get on that right now. And yeah, I had how, but why is you're absolutely right. It's the most important question, because that is the center of Make Work Meaningful. It's like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose? And back to what you said with the leadership, it's important to answer the why so that people can get behind the mission and understand it. And so for me, the why, when we're looking to bring, we've brought in AI into Lattice across functions, not just in people teams, But the why is so that we can really, I sound repetitive, but focus on the more strategic work. I don't think that people derive meaning and joy from doing the same monotonous thing over and over and over again. I mean, maybe some people do, and no judgment, that's amazing. But when we can elevate ourselves and focus even more on your customer, I think a different situation, but I think like take retail, for example. And retail, there's a lot of talk around AI and contact centers and the agents that would do in your customer service, inquiries. You imagine like if you had a retailer and you said, okay, yeah, don't put your dollars into the cost center to answer the same questions time after time after time. Transfer those dollars into maybe stylists or people that could give you the concierge level service that maybe even show up to your house, can understand exactly what you have in your closet and match it up, make you little lookbooks, maybe even, upsell you some of the key accessories that you need. But you're like, wow, you have like transformed my like daily life because I can feel fashionable with what I have in my closet, where, prior you were investing in people that were staffed, like for me to be able to call and ask about what's the status of my order. That's not value. It's something that the computer can do for us, but the human could give us a more of a concierge level service. And that's when companies can translate that why and say, okay, we're going to put this back on what our mission is as a company, is to, whatever that may be, that can be focusing. And people don't feel that they're as at risk in that situation.
Would love a concierge. So.
Right? Wouldn't that be amazing? Little pictures. Like I dream of that. Like so maybe that'll be the future.
Right. So last thing, one wild card prediction for the future of work, Sarah.
Wild card prediction. So this may sound really weird, but I think that our future of work is who's seen the movie Star Wars? Okay, yeah. I think our future of work is more like Star Wars than not. You think about when you had, Princess Leia like running the Rebel Command, and she's got, Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, C-3PO, Wookiee, and Han Solo. And she's got to, keep all these like random cast of characters motivated with like, this mission of like, take down the Death Star, for example, and you've got Luke Skywalker and the X-Wing fighter like going down, and R2-D2's helping like stay on target, get it, and it's like all this communication and collaboration across galaxies, and that is what I think that we're going to be like, this ultimate ability to collaborate. I think it's so incredible to be able to think of just having real-time language translation, real-time understanding, cultural understanding of each other, so that we can have more understanding, less confusion, to your word, and just focus on a purpose that we're united behind. So I think that will be a magical time of collaboration that AI will help us have in the workplace.
Sarah, I love it. Star Wars is my all-time favourite film. So
I did not know that.
That's a fantastic way. Right, I'm going to open it up to the audience now. We have time for a couple of questions. I think we have a mic. I can't see very well. Oh, we do. Great. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask Sarah a question. Like someone in the white cardigan here on this side. Yeah. Oh, could you wait for the mic? Thank you.
Hi, we've spoken quite a lot.
Introduce yourself first. Thank you.
My name's Amisha Mystery. I'm a senior people partner at a company called Parcel Lab. We've spoken quite a lot about all the benefits of AI and how revolutionary it's going to be for all of us, and I'm sure everyone can agree it's been very excited. What scares you about it?
What scares me about it is it's very powerful, and I believe two things. One, we should not have the AI pass judgment. Like, it's very purposeful what Sophie showed in her demo. Like, when you're looking at as simple as a performance evaluation, AI can give you the information, but it shouldn't pass a score, And then two is you should always have an accountable human somewhere in the loop. it could be as level, down the level of, okay, this human has to click a button every time it does something, or it could be more at the end. But we can't let AI lose control. So what scares me is when the AI, when we become in service to the AI and not the AI in service of us. And so this is why I think that we need to, exercise our choices in how we patronize businesses, services, and just as like we might make choices for our clothing or the food that we eat, the technology that we consume is another choice that we can make, and we need to support businesses and innovators that care about the responsibility that we all bear in bringing this into society. So what scares me is, should we lose control? And if people are not mindful of being responsible and transparent and accountable in the process. Do you agree?
Thank you,
Yes,
Sarah.
I do.
Over on this side, second row.
Sorry, I'm making you run around. My name is Anastasia Dre. I come from Solutions Engineering at Clary. So my question is more around, I guess, the hype curve. So what I'm seeing right now is a lot of organizations jumping on a hype. And what we forget is what's at the heart of it all, of bringing AI technologies in every corporation, which is people process technologies. And here, I want to put an emphasis on people. We bring in technologies, we build them internally, we bring in a lot of AI technologies to make our life easier, and we forget about the people. So we don't enable, we don't communicate how to use the tool, and I'm seeing a lot of chaos. One of the things I'm trying to do right now is to actually build a lot of awareness in our company about how we can use AI tools to our advantage and not just for fun. So what would be your advice on how, let's say, I can do it, how I can put back the emphasis on people to enable them to do their job with AI in the best way possible? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to come deliver the keynote on the people? Plus, I mean, I so articulately said, and a piece that we probably didn't hit on hard enough is the education. The education, maybe bring in open classrooms because they have good education around AI. But the advice I have is just don't stop, being that voice, which is saying, okay, understand you've fast forwarded to the technology and the innovation, but let's start with the people. And that's what everyone here in this room and in your industry around people leadership needs to do, is be the advocate for the people. I would also advise that you need to work together with the your CIOs and your CFOs to always be that voice. But I just think that the education is so paramount, and you just have to keep beating the drum.
Right, got time for one quick question.
Back there,
Yeah.
she's.
I can't see. Can you see? Yeah.
I can see. I mean, the lights are blinding, but.
Hi, good morning. My name's Elaine. I'm from Project 23. Thank you so much. I loved hearing everything that you shared about AI supporting managers, a role which has been underinvested in for so long. People just step up as practitioners, then, well, hey, I'm supposed to manage loads of people, so it's brilliant. One of the things that we hear as DEI practitioners often is for leaders to better manage teams that are different. So managing diverse teams equitably, inclusively, in order to get the most out of everyone and for everyone to thrive. I'd love to hear your thoughts or your plans around taking into account the nuance that managers must need and require. So managing people who are maybe a woman in a team of men as the only, or a Filipino-British woman like myself who has different needs to Jamie or Ollie. And I'd just love to know how we take into account difference and environment, whether it's environment or identity, when the support can come at us so fast and thick from AI. How do we take into account that nuance?
It's a great question and very near and dear to our hearts around DEIB. And it's another topic that's been, at least in the United States, like thrown into a bit of the fire of controversy. But so I'll throw in one more axis on this, is that every organization also has a different lens on what their culture is and what their values are. And this is why with the way that we've built the Lattice AI, I don't know if it came across as much when Ian was showing it, but when you can bring in your policies and your values and your beliefs into the way that the AI will respond to the coaching, yes, I think that it is something that can be an incredible help if you help people with different teams, diverse teams, have those conversations, but also be grounded in how you would approach conversations with the values that you have at your own company. And that's where just the AI, why we spent time doing this, technical diagram of where the prompt is on the journey, is important for everybody to educate themselves on, to understand, because you want to make sure the data is not inherently biased, that you're deriving information from, but also that you can apply the principles that are important to you. And it's important to understand how it works, especially when we want to make sure that we're not causing more bias. And so the AI can have anomaly detections and bias detections and remove biases, whether that's recency, language, gender biases, whatever. But by being also educated on how it works, I think that's one of the most important things. Otherwise, we're just kind of, like you said, it's like being thrown at us. And if you don't know how it works, you can't pause and say, well, why is it saying that? Or how is it helping? And with that coaching, I do think it's an incredible way to practice. In the demo, it gave some feedback on maybe when you should, ground on some data points, et cetera. But you can also use that type of feedback in there as well with the coaching. So my fingers are crossed that I really hope that this can be very helpful and can help people from all walks of life feel comfortable, and us be able to, going back to my wild, wacky idea, that just be able to collaborate better together.
Sarah, thank you so much, everyone. Sarah Franklin.